Go.
And this is episode 14, part 1. That's Steve. I'm Al.
Again.
And we're bringing you Jets Pizza is our unofficial sponsor, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, our lunch for today. And we're going to kick off with talking about the recent jobs report, which, several things. First, the two previous job reports were revised, and both of those turn out to be worse than we thought they were. It wasn't that anybody lied or whatever. They do these revisions normally. That's a normal thing. But the numbers are worse than we thought. The current report is bad, but what makes it particularly bad isn't the numbers themselves. It's the fact that Trump has now fired the woman responsible for delivering those numbers, and as a result, the U.S. and the rest of the world can no longer count on these kind of economic indicators that come out of the government. Because he basically said, I don't like your numbers, and she was not doing anything political with them. She wasn't trying to make them look good. She wasn't trying to make them look bad. She was just trying to give the honest numbers of what happened in the economy.
Right, so this is bad on so many different levels. First of all, granted, this was, I believe, an appointee from the previous administration. It wasn't Trump's appointee, if I remember correctly. If I'm
not sure about that one, actually.
But the bottom line is, throughout, every, presidential term, whoever's, doing this job, it's their job and their duty to give the numbers as accurately and to their best understanding of what the numbers are and what they mean. And of course, you can take any set of data and try to massage it and try to express it in many different ways. And sometimes, unless you know how to look at data and how to analyze it correctly, it can come out wrong. And sometimes people manipulate data on purpose, and they know exactly what they're doing.
But there was no indication that she was not qualified or that she was trying to do anything nefarious.
Right. And in the past, under any other president, bad numbers meant, oh man, what are we doing wrong? Let's see what we can do to fix it, or make some excuse at least why they're bad.
Right.
But not to completely deny him. But this, this goes, hand in hand with Trump's psychopathy. His psychopathy. He can't, if somebody presents him with information that he doesn't like, he's going to attack the person and not the information. So, he's not even going to try to pretend these numbers are. He has no justification whatsoever. He didn't even say anything to the. He could have said, "Well, this wasn't my appointee. I'm going to put somebody else in." No, he hasn't. He just said, "You're fired," and everybody knows why, because he didn't like the numbers. If you go back to when he was talking about when he was president during the COVID crisis. His some of the statements he made are so insane. Basically, if you don't test, the numbers go down.
Oh yeah, he said. I remember that. And it was do you not understand how this actually works?
What is? It doesn't. He's just one of these people who thinks that if you don't acknowledge
if you can't see it, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Yeah. Other people's suffering doesn't exist. Other people's realities don't exist. Nothing exists in this man except for his delusions. And unfortunately, what he has done is trapped everyone in his delusion, in his inverted reality. It's just so much like Trump. It doesn't, what he did there is just another example of how this guy will not accept reality. Not only will he not accept reality, but he's going to punish anybody who presents reality to him. So, if people can't recognize this at this point, that they've been duped by a corporate con man who's been handed everything in his life, who's beyond, he's a criminal in so many different ways. He's stiffed employees. He's gone as far as, taking money from charities. He's not even allowed to have a charity in New York City anymore. I don't even I can't even get angry right now. like right now, I want to feel angry, but all I feel is like sad and defeated because I cannot imagine how any human being can look at this man and not just fucking laugh at the preposterous joke of a man.
Well, because at the bottom line is that to support this man at this point, you're doing one of two things. You're afraid of him, and or it's cult mentality. Period. One or both of those things.
Right.
There are no other options.
Yourself. You're afraid of admitting that you've been conned by a huckster who cares nothing but himself.
Except that he has been that way his entire life. So how
can
you
you not
overlooked
see
it?
How have you overlooked it? Everybody in New York knows it. Everybody anywhere, anybody who's ever worked for him, his own family members, and here you are, still buying into this shit.
And I was explaining it to talking to my wife about it, and what gets me is it's not his lack of knowledge, it's the fact that he refuses to learn. Period. End of story. Like, with what's going on now with the tariffs, he was making some comments about, because of the tariffs, we should bring these companies should set up in the U.S., and it's like, yeah, they've been here for 15 years, you asshole. And we're talking about car companies and like Toyota and Honda. And yes, we've got them here in Texas and various other places. They've been here. For him to not know that.
Well, here's the thing. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
And once again, this just goes to his psychotic mindset, which is, not accepting reality. And that whatever he wants to believe becomes reality. And that's what a pathological level narcissist is an individual who cannot, his relationship to the world, his external world is completely damaged at the operating system level. This is not software level anymore. Like, there's people that are extremely narcissistic. There's people that are kind of troublesome in life. And you're like, oh man, some of those people can change. Or they can at least recognize it and try to adjust. This guy is at the fundamentally flawed at the level where it would take a complete reboot of this man's brain to get him back online. And this kind of pathology, it starts in childhood, if it isn't completely genetic. But I don't buy into that belief. But pathologically, he was turned into a narcissist at birth, between a psychopathic father and a mother who was emotionally barren. So, he just became, and then he was allowed to do whatever he wanted and got away with it constantly his entire life. Any other human being, and I've said this before, would either be dead or in jail.
If they'd done half the stuff he'd done.
If they didn't want, how many people do you know have more than 10, accusations? He's got 4,000 litigations, almost all of them.
Constantly, basically.
He's under litigation all the time,
Yeah.
and he's doing litigations all the time.
And it's not just in one area. He doesn't pay his bills. He doesn't. I mean, there's the
other human would be would be in jail. Any other person would be in jail or dead.
Right.
Like, they wouldn't have been able to survive. They'd be in the street starving.
And even knowing it still almost doesn't make sense how he's done it. I mean, we know how he's done it, but it still doesn't.
Like I said, this is systemic of our society in general. The deep sickness of this country that they just voted for him because he can express what they don't want to admit to themselves about themselves and the country at large, and they're in complete denial. Complete fucking denial of their own reality. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. But this is just like one more example of how he cannot accept reality. The people that follow this man cannot accept reality. They're incapable, I think, in a lot of ways. And it's just so disheartening. I don't know. Do you got anything else to
well,
say?
just my last thing is there's a guy I follow on TikTok. I generally like him, but I think he gives too much credit to the administration. He's usually like, these people can't possibly be that bad. They know what they're doing. They're just choosing to do bad stuff. And I'm like, no, if you look at who he's nominated, he's genuinely nominated people who do not know how to do what they're supposed to be doing, period. End of story.
Right. Now, I'm going to say something real quick.
Sure.
And this is not part of the discussion that we kind of like laid out 4 different things, but I'm going to add this on here because this goes to the denial factor that we kind of touched into on top of, this thing where he just fires people he doesn't want to get information that he doesn't like or want to believe. The Epstein files.
Oh, yeah.
So, Everybody knows it. There's pictures of him. People have said it for
pictures,
20, 30 years.
And video where he's on
he says he's his best
where
friend.
Where he says, hey, this guy's my best buddy, blah, blah, blah.
Right, so
And
to pretend like his pilot said he flew him there 30-something times, one of his pilots. Like,
37, I think. Anyways,
yeah,
after you get past
there's
20,
no
doesn't matter.
doubt. The 26 women who came forward, and those are the ones who came forward, 26 women came forward and accused him of some kind of assault or flat-out rape.
Yeah.
So, they say don't say these words on here. I always see the proof that.
Well, you said it the way that we're allowed to, so.
I don't know if any of that's true. Either,
well,
whatever. I'll just go with what people are saying. But so if one or two, I'm not saying that's 1 or 2 is too many.
Yeah.
But maybe one could be questionable. Let's see the facts.
But we're not talking 1 or 2. We're talking like over 20 or 30.
Right. Either one is dude, what the fuck?
And if you look at it, I mean...
But 26?
And the more I hear, every time somebody presents a new soundbite about like the E. Jean Carroll case, the more I go, how the hell can any...
But that is not even the worst.
Did
you hear the testimony from the girl when she was like 13 years old?
Some of it, yeah.
With the grape fantasy thing?
Yeah.
Now to me...
And he's taught... It's
who would make that up?
About it.
Who would make that up at 13?
Well, yeah.
What child would come forward and say, this happened to me when I was like... And make this shit up if it wasn't true?
Nobody that I can think of.
Right. So here he is.
You don't do that.
And if you haven't heard this testimony... It'll make your fucking skin crawl. What he did to this girl, this child. So, yeah, he is beyond the fact that he's a sociopath. He's a pedophile. And beyond, and not even remotely in a way that's could be justified at any level whatsoever. There was, no consent going on with,
which by definition there is no consent. But
by definition there's no consent. But there, like, if you hear her testimony,
yeah,
you will see that it is beyond reprehensible at any level. And here these people are defending this man still and still believing.
The disgusting part. There was one survey that basically said if Trump were found liable and proof that undeniable proof basically that he did everything that we say with the Epstein files, etc. If that could be proven, and I feel like it already has been, but for the sake of argument, the survey said if it could be proven, would you still support him? And the survey basically said that about 47% of the people who answered that said, yeah, I'd still support the guy.
Right.
I mean, what is wrong with our society when this? I mean, at that point, I don't care if he was, I'm not religious anymore, but I don't care if he was freaking Jesus up to that point. When you get to that point, you say, nope, I'm turning the bus around. No more. That's what anybody with a conscience does.
Yeah, but these people are in the inverted reality that's been created by Trump. And
they have no conscience anymore.
Right, yeah. And it stems from, this illness that America's facing that they won't acknowledge. And, I don't know, without repeating myself over and over and over again, it just seems like every week, man, and it's not just us. Like, I hear this all the time from so many different, people on TikTok and other places. They just have to keep on reiterating the same things over and over and over again because there's just so many examples. And every week he just does something else to solidify what we've already just said and crystallize all the beliefs from the week before.
One last thing so we can move on.
Just once again is an example of him.
You heard what he said about the pharmaceutical prices, right?
They're not up or something like that?
No, he said something to the effect of, I'm gonna make it so that you pay 1,500% less for your drugs or something like that. And it's like, wait a minute. You think that you're going to change it so that the drug companies pay us to use their product? Because that's what it meant. That's what his words meant. I mean, that's how clueless he is about the words coming out of his mouth. I mean,
I think what he meant was, like, if something costs $1,500, now it's $1. I mean, he was like, that's how stupid.
I don't know. Either way, it's pretty damn stupid. I mean,
yeah. I think I understand his stupidity when it comes to, like, not understanding, like, how you present math.
I will say in his quote-unquote defense, and I use that in very, very, very small air quotes. I did have a video non-political where somebody was giving me a hard time and said, "Oh, well, you said such and such," and I was like, "Well, I know I didn't mean that because I know better." And then they came back and they was like, "Oh, you listen to such and such," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, there were 3 seconds there that if you wanted to, you could interpret it the way that you did, but I know better, and I'm telling you that I know better. So why are you giving me a hard time?"
I know what my intentions are.
I know, yeah.
So, anyways, to wrap this up, Trump, yeah, he's delusional. He will not accept reality. He wants to present, he wants himself and everyone else to believe his bullshit and lies, and he's nothing but a con man criminal, and the people that are following him off the edge of a cliff.